So we're now going to take a look at some interest rate questions, and we're going to be using geometric sequences again to help us to understand this, but we'll adjust our formula and use that third formula, which is un equals u0, 1 plus I to the power of n. And really importantly, u0 is our initial amount invested, I is our interest rate per compounding period of time, and n is the number of those periods of time. UN is our outcome, the amount of money after it's all happened. Okay, so let's take a look at an example that's going to help us to understand this. So we've got $5,000. So U0, the initial investment, is 5,000. It's invested for 4 years and it's compounded annually. So that is going to mean that we've got 4 compounding periods. So N is 4. Now, our interest rate is 7% per compounding period, so I is 0.07. That corresponds to that 7%. So all we've got to do is set this up. How much is going to be there at the end of the period? So U4 is going to be 5,000 multiplied by 1.07 to the power of 4. Can you see how those numbers have just fitted into that formula really nicely? And if we work that out, we are going to have 6553.98. We want to round to 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money here, dollars and cents. That is it. Part B, how much interest has been earned? Well, we'll just take that number, 6553.98, take away the initial investment, and we've got the answer, haven't we? $1,553.98. Right, let's build up our skill set now. So now we've got £5,000 and it's invested for 4 years at 3% interest rate compounded quarterly. Okay, so straight away we've got U0 is equal to 5,000. Now, N is a bit different and so is I. So be very careful here. We're compounding quarterly, which means that we're working our interest 4 times a year. So N will be 4 times 4. We've got 4 years and it's 4 times a year. So this time N is 16. And our interest rate is given at 3% PA. Well, PA means per year. And I is the interest rate per compounding period. So what we're going to have to do is we're really going to work it out as like 3% divided by 4. Well, that's 0.75%, or in terms of the decimal that we're looking for, 0.0075. So we need to look at how many times a year it's compounded and divide by that number in order to get the I value, that interest rate per compounding period. That's the hard bit done though. Now we can just chuck it into our formula and work it out. So we're going to have U16, the amount after 16 compounding periods, will be 5,000 multiplied by 1.0075 to the power of 16. That will be 5634.96 pounds. There we go. And we're done. Next example. So how much does Ivana need to invest now to get a maturing value of 10,000 in 4 years' time, given an interest at 8% per annum, compounded twice annually? Give your answer to the nearest dollar. I would suggest pausing this video and seeing if you can have a go at this one yourself. It's quite a challenge. We'll get started though. UN, the answer is given. We'll have to find some of the other things in the formula, but that's going to be 10,000. That's the amount after it's happened. Right, what about N? Well, we're compounding twice a year and we have got 4 years. So 4 times 2 is 8. We've got N is 8. Our I value is the interest rate per compounding period. Well, it's our 8%, but per year divided by 2, because we've got 2 compounding periods a year. So obviously that's 4%, which as a decimal, 0.04. So setting up our equation then, we're going to have 10,000 is equal to U0, and U0 is what we're trying to find, right? How much we invest now, the initial amount, multiplied by 1 plus I, 1.04, to the power of n. Well, n is 8. So that's going to be how we set this up. So just dividing through 10,000 divided by 1.04 to the power of 8 will be our U0. And that is going to be 7,307. Done. Okay, let's carry on. And let's read this very, very carefully. It's not as tricky as it looks, but be careful. Georgia, would like to purchase a painting that is currently worth 5,000. Right. Okay. So she makes the monthly deposits, and she can purchase the painting in 3 years' time. We've got inflation now as well, averaging 2.5% per year. Calculate the value of the painting indexed for inflation for 3 years. Okay, so there is quite a bit going on there. The U0 is 5,000, right? The price now. We are increasing per year, and we're looking at 3 years. So n is really easy as well. N is just going to be 3. There's no other compounding periods. Now, our inflation is 2.5% per year. So I is going to be 0.025. And actually, that's it. That's all that's going on in the question. So we can set this up quite nicely and say that 5,000 multiplied by 1.025 cubed is equal to 5384.45. And that's it. We're done. Okay, we've calculated it. It's just going to be that.